The time is 1:15. Here is the news edited by Catherine Pereira, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. Sectorial monitoring working committees to be established soon. Concessions will be given to the public through the new budget. Measures have been taken to safeguard the fisheries sector. Police intelligence unit have been deployed at fuel stations. Police have arrested 13 people in connection with an attack on a petrol station in Vallavaya last night. Several trains will be added for the operations this evening. Hirunika and group arrested for protesting near presidential residence. World news: Boris Johnson fights for political survival as cabinet ministers quit. Local news in detail. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the economic and political reforms should be done in order to build the country from the present economic crisis. The economic reforms have already been conducted. He said in Parliament today that as a first step of the political reforms, the 22nd Amendment can be introduced. He said new political culture should be established to get rid from the present crisis than recalling past occurrences. Sectorial monitoring working committees should be set up in this regard. He also stated that these committees will fulfill a significant task for the development of the country. Therefore, these committees will be established soon. All party leaders will be convened for discussion in this matter. The chairpersonship of these committees will be handed over to opposition parliamentarians. Answering to a question raised by Dilip Vedarache in Parliament, the Prime Minister said measures have been taken to safeguard the fisheries industry. Financial assistance will be given for each fisherman. Discussion will be convened on the concessions to be given for them on Friday. Answering to a question raised by the parliamentarian Vijitha Herath, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe stated that concessions will be given to public through the new budget. Meanwhile, a gas ship will arrive in the country on Saturday. Prime Minister also reiterated that petrol will be provided before the 22nd of this month, even by purchasing at higher prices. Measures should be taken to provide solutions for all these problems without political differences. Police intelligence units have been deployed at all filling stations. The aim of this move is to look into the large-scale malpractices and problems occurring at the filling stations. Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Talduva said that the fuel racketeers will be taken into custody. He said information have been revealed that the racketeers and the underworld gangs are taking fuel by threatening to the owners of the fuel stations and sold it at a higher price. In addition, many such incidents are occurring to obtain fuel in illegal manner. Therefore, general public are facing many difficulties when obtaining fuel for them. He also stated that stern legal action will be taken against such culprits. Special operations will be conducted by the police and the special task force in this regard. Police have arrested 13 people in connection with an attack on a petrol station in Vallavaya city last night. When the filling station noticed the people that it had run out of fuel after distribution, some of the people who came to get fuel had behaved in an unruly manner, attacking the filling station with rocks and bottles. A police officer at the filling station was also injured in the attack. The police said that 13 suspects were arrested and 20 motorcycles were seized in connection with the incident. The suspects are aged between 18 and 45, are residents of Passara, Athiliveva, Vallavaya. They are to be produced in the Vallavaya Magistrates Court today. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, Deputy General Manager of Railways Gamini Seneviratne says that it would be possible to add all trains for operations by this evening. The token strike launched by the station masters last night due to lack of fuel to report for duty has been suspended. Nearly 30 trains were operated this morning due to the minimum arrival of station masters. Several of his trains were operated this morning. The police arrested a group led by former MP Hirunika Premachandra who launched a protest near the President's official residence in Fort this morning. Hirunika, accompanied by a few women and men, engaged in the protest to show displeasure over the current economic crisis in Sri Lanka. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Sri Lanka Navy apprehended 53 persons who were attempting to illegally migrate from the country by sea during separate search operations carried out in beach areas of Irakkandi, Trincomalee and Talpadu, Mannar last night. The operations also led to apprehension of 2 human smugglers. Sri Lanka Navy has been conducting regular operations covering the sea and coastal areas around the island with the aim of suppressing illegal migration and other forms of illegal activities. Meanwhile, a special operation conducted by the Navy in Norechole-Putlam this morning led to the seizure of about 212 kilograms of Kerala cannabis being transported by a van. The Navy also nabbed a suspect in connection to this record during this operation. The gross street value of Kerala cannabis seized in this operation is believed to be over 63 million rupees. That's the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, it has been reported that around 90% small and medium scale of animal husbandry farmers in the island have been closed due to the inability of purchasing animal foods owing to the severe economic crisis in the country. The animal husbandry farmers have been requested the relevant authorities to make arrangements to provide animal food concessions soon. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Boris Johnson fights for political survival as cabinet ministers quit. Philippine President touches on military exchanges with China. Uganda urges UN Refugee Agency to support. World news in detail. Boris Johnson is fighting for political survival after 2 of his top ministers attacked his leadership and resigned. Chancellor Rishi Sunak and Health Secretary Sajid Javid quit within 10 minutes of each other, followed by a flurry of junior ministers and aides. Critics said it was over for the Prime Minister, while Labour said the party he led was corrupted. But Mr. Johnson made it clear he planned to stay on as he moved to show up his government with a cabinet reshuffle. He named Nadim Zawahi as the new Chancellor, while the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Steve Barclay, has become Health Secretary. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has indicated that military exchanges could be one way of resolving conflicts with China over maritime issues. Marcos said at a news conference on Tuesday that he will meet Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi today. Wang is on a tour of Southeast Asian nations. The president said he will discuss ways to resolve maritime disputes in the South China Sea during his meeting with Wang. He stressed that there is a need for multilateral exchanges. Marcos said, let's have cultural exchanges, educational exchanges, even the military, if that will be useful. It was the first time that he mentioned military exchanges with China since he assumed office. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni yesterday urged the United Nations to support the country's environmental protection efforts by providing refugees with alternative means of energy for cooking instead of wood fuel. Museveni made the appeal while meeting with the outgoing UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Country Representative JUL Boltro. According to a State House statement, experts say the over 1.5 million refugees in Uganda are exerting pressure on the environment in areas where they are hosted. Uganda is the largest refugee hosting country in Africa and the third in the world after Turkey and Colombia, according to UNHCR figures. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Boris Johnson fights for political survival as cabinet ministers quit. Philippine president touches on military exchanges with China. Uganda urges UN refugee agents to support. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. Cabinet spokesman, Transport and Mass Media Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that by next week around 1,000 repaired buses will be put into operation and another 100 buses will be added for the school service. The minister said this while attending the cabinet press conference held at the Government Information Department yesterday. Minister Gunawardena also said that in the future, as a pilot project, they hope to implement this project in Colombo and Gampa areas by employing a female conductor for school buses. That came to you on Development News. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Australia's T20 international specialist D'Arcy Short, Dwayne Pretorius of South Africa and West Indies Carlos Braithwaite and Evan Lewis were coming the top international players who figured prominently in the player draft of the third Lanka Premier League that took place virtual at the SLBC Pavilion yesterday. Along with Pakistan's T20 all-rounder Imad Wasim, they were the highest valued players at $60,000 in the international rugby category. LPL 3 is due to commence on 31st of July at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo and the Mahindra Rajapaksa Stadium in Hambantota. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The globally respected UK magazine The Banker has once again included the commercial bank of Ceylon in its prestigious top 1,000 world bankers ranking, making Commercial Bank the only Sri Lankan bank to be ranked among the elite global giants in banking for 12 consecutive years. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Moving on to economic news, a project will be implemented to cultivate tea as an interim crop in coconut cultivation lands. The Small Tea Holders Development Authority said that the aim of this project is to enhance the harvest. That ends economic news. Finally, on to the weather report. The Met Department says that showers will occur at times in Sabaragamuwa province and in Nuwara and Kandy districts. Several spells of showers will occur in western and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Strong winds about 40 to 50 km per hour can be expected at times in the western slope of the Central Hills. That ends weather report. To wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Sectoral monitoring working committees to be established soon. Concessions will be given to the public through the new budget. Measures have been taken to safeguard the fisheries sector. Police intelligence unit have been deployed at fuel stations. Police have arrested 13 people in connection with an attack on a petrol station in the Vallava last night. Several trains will be added for the operations this evening. Hirunika and the group arrested for protesting near presidential residence. Foreign news: Boris Johnson's fight for political survival as cabinet ministers quit. With that, we wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka.